Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This infringement of copyright is called fair use, and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody. This means you.
Hello, I'm the artist, and welcome to Nostalgia Trip, a show where I look back at cartoons of the old, be it the not-so-ancient time of early 2000s to the golden cartoons of the 1940s to see if shows still hold as well as they did back then, or even if they weren't as bad as we remembered. For my pilot episode of Nostalgia Trip, I want to look at a pilot episode of a show that I remember as older, honestly. Does anyone remember the show Out of Jimmy's Head? For those who don't remember it, don't worry. Out of Jimmy's Head was Cartoon Network's first live-action series, created by Timothy McKeon, who later went on to be a writer for Gravity Falls and Adventure Time, and Adam Pava, who went on to write for Glenn Martin DDS and the screenplay for Box Trolls. As you can see, only one went on to do good things. Prior to this, they both wrote Out of Jimmy's Head, which was a television series that aired a very short time span of less than a year, specifically from September 14th, 2007 to May 29th, 2008, according to Wikipedia, IMDb, and basically any other place I could find with this info, although it does still feel a lot older than it is. Now, I don't remember the individual episodes of Out of Jimmy's Head, and unfortunately the show is very elusive as I can't find any episodes online, but thankfully for me, I'm able to find the pilot for the show, which was a 1-hour-long TV movie called Reanimated that aired in 2006, 10 years ago, which is the start for my cutoff for Nostalgia Trip. Now, the show is about this kid named Jimmy who was an absolute loser to the T. He was walked on, couldn't say no, wanted to be popular and fit in, yet couldn't fit in even with the nerd group if he tried. That said, one day on a field trip to a fictional Appleday Pictures, which may as well be Disney World, Warner Studios, and the Hanna-Barbera Studios all fucked together in one, they learned about Walt Disney. I mean, Milt Appleday's frozen brain that is contained within the theme park. And after getting hit by a train ride, Jimmy gets the brain of said Disney knockoff and starts seeing cartoons in real life ranging from Steamboat Willie to Transformers, and of course Mickey and Minnie knockoffs, Golly and Dolly Gopher. In Reanimated, we see Jimmy's origin story where everything I mentioned prior to this happened, and after this he winds up inheriting the studio, firing the original inheritee Sonny Appleday, who vows to steal his brain and shunning his friends while being bossed around by Golly. I'm gonna be honest here, the movie isn't actually all that bad. I mean, Cartoon Network was kind of diving into its gray period at the time as we were losing shows that were at best meh, like Baby Looney Tunes, Hi Hi, Puffy Amiyumi, and Juniper Lee, and gaining shows that were less than favorable like Squirrel Boy. And although we did get Class of 3000 the same year, I feel like Reanimated and Out of Jimmy's Head was one of the nicer shows out there to come out around that time for the channel. The characters I could definitely see being a problem, at least in the movie. They were pretty one-note characters who were less than favorable to say the least. However, I kind of feel like that's the point. Now, hear me out. I have a theory that these characters are supposed to be parodies of popular tropes and big names. Golly is your cocky, snarky, egocentric Mickey Mouse Bugs Bunny kind of character, always thinking about himself, always wanting to be in the limelight, wants to be popular, wants to be the star of everything, which pokes fun at the fact Mickey and Bugs turned into the faces of those studios and became the center of absolutely everything that the company did. Dolly, of course, being the sensitive female version of the male star, poking fun at Lola and Minnie. Croco is the dumb one, as a joke on characters like Goofy, who are borderline dumb and clumsy. The Pickle and Porcupine refer to slapstick duos like Tom and Jerry and Wile E. and Roadrunner. And Tux seems to be the Joker's sidekick normally seen within Warner Brothers and Hanna-Barbera cartoons. It's a thought, but to me it makes sense. The story, I feel, was done alright. Malicious manipulation, brain transplant tries to change as a person, then more malicious manipulation until Jimmy takes control of the situation, and then they live happily ever after. It's actually alright despite the scenes where it's only live action with no cartoons, which are scenes you can't skip due to their importance, but you'll wish you can due to how painfully cringy they are. Yeah, the reason you don't normally see live action shows here on this channel is because, one, there is so much more to look at for live action aside from just animation, voices, and story. Live action kind of requires legitimate acting and set design, which is, too, hard to judge, as I don't normally know what the intention is, so props and set pieces are kind of difficult to judge. However, what I can say for certain is that human acting in this movie is pretty abysmal. And despite the fact that they are able to do the Who Framed Roger Rabbit approach, albeit pretty lazily, the acting distracts from the times they actually do get it right. In the end, it's not perfect, but I'd give it a watch if you're curious about some of Cartoon Network's history. You may get some laughs out of it. This is Nostalgia Trip, coming back from memory lane.
No one can sing them, so it's hard to explain it. I'll keep my head when there's a freak trying to claim it. Till then, if I can make some new friends.